And we are live, folks. Looking at the sun here in 335 angstroms. We're going to give you 1 minute of lead time. And we're going to come back with space weather. But we're going to talk about everything from economics to the space weather to more economics, Federal Reserve. So stay tuned. 1 minute. We'll be right back.
The following video is controversial and may be offensive.
All right, and thanks for tuning in, viewers. Going to look at some more views here. We're looking at 7 hours and 45 minutes of the sun. We see 0 sunspots. Coronal holes really not even relevant. No active regions. Weak solar activity. Low density solar wind. We call it solar minimum. 10.7 centimeter radial flux was up to 68 briefly, and then it dropped back down to 67. Here's a location of objects in our solar system. There's where they'll be in 1 week. A waning moon. Mercury swings past, and Earth leaves the Jupiter-Saturn gas giant zone. Here's a view from stereo A, 304 angstroms. Blow this up a little bit. Keep it roughly round-shaped. Nothing going on over there by stereo A either. A little bit of activity about to rise from its perspective. For you new viewers, stereo A is located about here. Behind Earth orbitally speaking, but ahead of Earth in terms of seeing solar activity, which is why we call it stereo A for ahead. Here's a real-time solar wind. Solar wind density dropping down from where it was yesterday at this time. About 1 proton per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed down to 350 or so. So very weak solar activity there. Very weak solar wind. Let's look at the magnetosphere movies here as we do most days. Here's 4 hours of magnetosphere movie. First, we're going to look at the density. In both the equatorial and meridional planes, left side of your screen faces the sun, right side faces away from the sun. And we see that very low density solar wind coming in, showing up as lighter colors, high density showing up as dark blue. Here's the pressure, which is very low. We have seen it lower on this channel, quite a bit lower than this, but this is a very low pressure situation as the wind speed very low, as well as the wind density. So magnetohydrodynamics is a new and super important branch of science, folks, and we're trying to get folks familiar with it before it becomes a part of our daily lives. Check out global magnetic perturbations here. We're going to look at changes in the Earth's B field, otherwise known as delta B, geospace delta B. B field is the field that goes through the magnet, this particular magnet being the Earth. Main perturbations noted on this video are the ones over the Canadian North Pole, not particularly the Siberian North Pole. And the South Pole continues to creep into the southern Indian Ocean. Check out in-the-sky.org to create your own sky map. You can even animate it. This is what will be going on over my head as Saturn and the Moon begin to set. Venus will rise just before the sun, so if you have a low horizon, go out and get some images of Venus. So check out galaxyzoo.com. I mean, zooniverse.org. Zooniverse.org, rather, not galaxyzoo.com. Don't type that in. I have no idea what that'll lead you to. Check out zooniverse.org Galaxy Zoo Project and be the citizen scientist to classify this galaxy. In fact, I guess you're not going to be able to because we're going to do it right here. It's got features. It's not a plain elliptical galaxy. It's not an edge-on disk. It's quite irregular. Is there a bar? There's a strong bar, in my opinion. Is there a sign of a spiral arm pattern? Yes. We're going to say medium tightness in terms of the spiral arms. I'm going to say I only see one, as it looks like two spiral arms in different directions there. It's quite interesting. And thanks for commenting on the Patreon post. That's what that notification was. I don't silence my phone for these videos, folks. However, I am a transformer. Is there a bulge? Well, let's ask our viewers. Do you see a bulge, viewers? Hello, Jan. Are you watching? Do you see a bulge? Okay, that's as large as it'll get. All right. Anyway, turns out there is a bulge. We're going to say moderate. Is there a disturbance? Well, there's a major disturbance. In fact, we're going to say merging, as that's a completely irregularly shaped galaxy. Not sure if this one is a foreground object, where my pointer is. We're going to say lens or arc for sure, irregular for sure, dust lane for sure, overlap, and something else. So there you go. That's another interesting galaxy. We'll save this image for posterity in the smash file folder, which one of these days I'll have to clean out because it's full of a bunch of stuff we don't use. We need archive folders, folks. Archive folders. Will you be the citizen scientist to classify this galaxy? Please do. Check out smAsho.org, where we'll be listing our mission statement soon, which is also available to public on Patreon, which is to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of unified theory of physics to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space, weather, and Earth effects, to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, such as shout out Christian Westbrook, Ice Age Farmer, who will be appearing on the show sometime next week, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof of concept solutions to problems, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including but not limited to these sciences. Also to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon, and to not be ossified in our beliefs. Tell your friends, tell your foes. Also follow us on Patreon. Some posts will be public. We try to put exclusive content on all of our social medias to make them all relevant. Such as here, where we're showing the more than 5 meters of snow on Greenland. Or here, where we're talking about galactic scale cosmology with Ben Davidson. Or here, where we're giving out ringtones. Now that's only for our patrons. Also GIF animations of the sun. So please join Patreon, be a patron. The tier is only $1 for now. We will be making other tiers later, probably later this year. Also, thanks for donating on PayPal. Every little bit makes a huge difference. So thanks, donors. Also, check out links in the description, such as the Hemp Lucid Spaced Out campaign. Perhaps get yourself some whole plant CBD water solubles. How about a 500 milligram? $49.95. Whole plant extracts designed to absorb very quickly, which is why we use the water soluble one. If you'd prefer to get the added benefits of additional oils, fatty acids, etc., check out the sale on the hemp seed oil tincture with the whole plant CBD extract. Sale on that, 30% off, the 1,000 milligrams. So again, check out the links in the description below the video for the spaced out hemp lucid campaign specifically formulated for our spaced out viewers. Click the links and help to show Hemp Lucid that we get hits. If you're a prepper and you don't own a bike, how about a gravel bike? It's the hottest thing right now, including in bike racing. Lots of people buying a specific bike just to ride in the muck and gravel and go off road at high speeds like a complete maniac. Check out the Felt VR40. Comes in a nice ugly color that'll look great muddy. Apparently this one's only available in 47. But hey, if you're like 5 feet tall and you want a gravel bike, look it up. Ovelloshop.net. Also listen to the music in the links. And yeah, click the links in the description below the video. You'll see things like soundclick.com/Golden Cat Productions, where the song we were just playing is available for the low price of $1.25. And also SoundCloud for some original stuff. Let's get back to space, or at least the very high mesosphere. Now, noctilucent clouds, if you're not familiar with them, they look like cirrus clouds, but they're at a much higher altitude. Water in the mesosphere, folks. Water in the mesosphere. Check out spaceweather.com for various great links, photographs of auroras and so on. Again, 10.7 centimeter radio flux back down to 67, still above predicted values. Welcome to cycle 25. It was briefly up to 68. I think it was less than 24 hours, and now it's back down to 67. So weak solar activity continues, folks. It's the solar minimum. Enjoy it. Solar activity is going to ramp up. We've already seen a legit cycle 25 sunspot. Number 2744 was a real cycle 25 sunspot. Check out spaceweathernews.com for some more data, such as the X-ray flux, which is totally flatlined. Magnetometer is looking pretty smooth, actually in a weakened range here. Lower highs and higher lows. KP index is at 1. Electron flux is looking normal and nominal. No charging hazards to speak of. F2 layer is looking pretty discharged on the sun side and pretty normal on the night side. Check out the Gong 2 for the magnetic data. We're looking at the current sheet here. North pole polarity associated with the green, south pole polarity associated with the red. And that is the source of the smooth magnetometer stuff. This data, 1 hour, 21 minutes old. And we're looking for smooth sailing here in the magnetometer over the next day or so. Nothing to write home about there. Check out other social media also, as we're on a bunch. You want to see more personal stuff, check out Instagram.com/smAsho. Not really fixated on space weather like this YouTube channel currently is. Keep in mind, folks, we will talk about whatever we want on this channel. We're only producing limited content for a very specific reason. I would invite you to check out Google Maps traffic layer to help you avoid things like this. When it rains heavily, people almost always crash in this region, as this is a mountain crossing. And I just never plan to drive in areas where there are crashers. So at least 3 crashes, one of which caused a truck fire, caused an overpass to close down. An entire road is probably still closed to this day. This happened just yesterday. So especially if you're a local viewer, like in the Lehigh Valley, check us out, Instagram.com/smAsho. Also, check us out on Twitter. Perhaps share yesterday's video, which talked about one of the dumbest ideas in the history of mankind, artificial blizzards for Antarctica. Also on Facebook, Facebook.com. You will get censored. You will get shadow banned. Enjoy yourself over there. Hey, Mark, let me know how your share price is doing in 6 months. How about Gab? Gab.com/smAsho. Check out the thumbnail from yesterday, where we featured the word scam, and we use it in a sentence, such as, YouTube monetization is a scam. And if you think because you're seeing ads that we're paid to make these videos by YouTube, you're wrong. We're paid exactly nothing by YouTube. However, Google has tried to shake us down for money. And I responded with a chuckle. Also, check us out on minds.com, the social media that's open source and won't censor you. Help us get to 500,000 views, as we're already at 469,000. Let's get my face off the screen. Also, please subscribe to the channel on which you're probably viewing this video, YouTube. Please press the notification bell. Perhaps you'll actually see these live things when they happen. It's not for sure, but it's possible. Let's do an earthquake rundown as quickly as possible at perhaps a breakneck speed. How about a 5.1 in the Kuril Islands, north of Japan? 4.2 in Argentina at depth, heads up central Andes for a larger quake at the surface there. Another 4.7 in the Kuril Islands. Looks like an aftershock from that 5.1. Here's a 4.7 at Kamchatka, north of those Japanese quakes. Here's a 4.7 at depth at Papua New Guinea, heads up there for a larger quake at the surface. How about a 5.0 near Hidalgo, Mexico? 5.0 Hidalgo, Mexico at 87.4 kilometers. Close to the Blot Echo range there, folks. How about a 4.8 at Indonesia? How about a 5.3 at Indonesia? Here's a 4.8 at the Philippines, 4.9 at the Philippines, 4.8 near the Izu Islands, south of Japan. Bolivia experiencing a 4.9 at nearly 200 kilometers depth. Again, central Andes, be prepared for a larger quake at the surface. 4.4 Turkey. That one at depth. President Erdogan, if you're watching the YouTube video, please leave a comment if you felt that tremor and your salt and pepper shakers fell off the stove and landed on the floor. How about a 4.5 at the Philippines? This one at a very deep depth, 373.4 kilometers. Heads up Philippines for a larger quake. So we're seeing it. We're seeing a bunch of deep quakes, folks. This is an earthquake uptick risk because we're seeing a bunch of deep quakes here, including this 4.5 at the Fiji Islands, which is 537.8 kilometers deep. If you're in an earthquake-prone region, please have a disaster plan. Know which buildings may fall down as you try to evacuate yours in the event of an earthquake. Very strong low in the southern Atlantic, as well as in the southern Pacific. The mirror images of each other. We see a double anticyclone in the North Pacific. This pressure map courtesy of windy.com. Check out their mobile app also. It's super good. Although I do use AccuWeather's links also. Volcano rundown. Kluchevskoy back on the list. Exploding and producing an 18,000-foot ash plume. Please don't fly your ultralight aircraft over that. Sanjiang Api, 8,000-foot ash plume there. Explosive activity continues at Dacono, where there's also a flight level 6,000 warning. Popocatépetl, possible emissions. It quieted down for a couple days and it looks like it's ready to blow up again. Revenador exploding, producing a 16,000-foot plume, and Sabancaya exploding, producing a 24,000-foot ash plume. Please do not Fosbury flop the Sabancaya. If you're not familiar with the Fosbury flop, it's what we use to do the high jump. Those of us who do the high jump. I don't do the high jump anymore, but I used to do the high jump. Heavy lightning over Wisconsin. Shout out Jesse Philibrand for your painstakingly detailed weather videos and social commentary about the social stigma of YouTube creator content. So we see some heavy storms over, especially over Wisconsin there. And we see some obvious dimensional portals opening here over Oregon, California, Kentucky and Tennessee and Florida. All apparent Sasquatch portals opening in those regions. You see right there. So to all our viewers, if you've got any footage of Sasquatches emerging from a dimensional portal, or Bigfoots, or Yetis, or any sort of stuff like that, please upload to Instagram and then send us a link so we can feature it on the channel, or perhaps to YouTube. Maybe we'll do an exclusive video about your video. Also, if you've got a current psychic link with a Sasquatch, please allow the Sasquatch to type for you and leave a comment. Next, we're going to check out the this crazy storm here, which is completely being held in place by dry air. A great atmospheric physics lesson here, as the moist air is completely surrounded by dry air, and that's why that's going to stagnate. Although there is some jet stream motion, and since we haven't looked at it for a while, let's look at the jet stream real quick. If you want to look at the jet stream yourself, head to tropicaltidbits.com. Go to forecast models. Click on regions. We're going to show the whole world view. And then just click on upper dynamics. We're going to look at the 250 millibar wind. I don't know how I became such a weather nerd, folks. I think it's through cycling. Also an aerospace engineer, although I started studying that formally in 6th grade. Anyway, there's the quote jet stream, end quote, if you want to call it that. And it's not very jetty or very streamy in the northern hemisphere. And it's extremely meridional in the southern hemisphere. So you're going to see very hot temperatures in the southern Pacific. This is the GFS model, folks. So we're looking at the last couple days, and that's the current situation. You notice the northern hemisphere barely has a jet stream, as not even a meridional flow is governing the weather here. That's more of convective forces controlling the flow of weather. And that's one way for extreme weather events to linger over your head for days at a time. If you're wondering if carbon dioxide causes that to happen, then I feel sorry for you, and I'll let you know that carbon dioxide doesn't do that. Anyway, let's move on to the "this is an ass" and "this is a hole in the ground" portion of the video. Talk about some important stuff like markets. Currency has no
market
because currency is completely based on nothing. Let's talk about fiat. What gives the US dollar value? What gives US dollars value is
fiat
or
fiat.
Okay, I thought it was fiat, but fiat. Okay, let's say
fiat.
Let's say fiat. The only reason the US dollar is worth anything is because people say so. That paper is totally worthless. Let's talk about value. Things like silver have actual
value
because you can build things out of it. It's an antiseptic. You can make silver colloid out of silver through electrolysis. Silver has actual value, and the US dollar used to be backed by gold until 1972. Anyway, since 1913, the
value
of the US dollar has diminished by 97%. We call that inflation, folks. Let's talk about one of the reasons why you're forced to accept US dollars. It's because of its legal tender status. If you want to read about it, we left a link in the description to this treasury.gov resource center FAQ. Please understand legal tender laws, especially if you want to exchange with other entities in a monetary fashion. Is it legal to demand payment in silver or gold or fiat money? Now, the Federal Reserve is super good for the economy. Just kidding. Links to this Zero Hedge article also in the description. This was an academic speech on 20 years of research. It was not about potential policy actions at the upcoming FOMC meeting. Anyway, the quote was, first, take swift action when faced with adverse economic conditions. Second, keep interest rates lower for longer so the government can keep spending. And third, adapt monetary policy strategies to succeed in the context of low R star and the ZLB. I have no idea what that means. However, I do know what the Federal Reserve is and does, how it was made, and I'll share a link later in the video about that. But let's just say I'm not the prime fan of the Federal Reserve. In fact, you could even say I'm a critic, as it shouldn't exist, and free markets should determine the price of money. Free markets should determine the price of money and interest rates and not a cartel of banks. So the same way OPEC should not be dictating oil prices, the Federal Reserve should not be dictating interest rates, which is the price of money, folks. If interest rates were construed as a price, the Federal Reserve's actions would be considered price fixing and thereby illegal. But interest rates aren't considered a price, and we're not even going to get into fractional reserve banking. The Federal Reserve is what causes inflation, and let's just leave it at that. We've left links to this meme also. I'll just read it aloud. Capitalism has not existed since 1913. That's when Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act into law on December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. So it just kind of passed by. Everybody went through the holidays, and when they came back to work on January 2nd, nobody was free anymore. Anyway, the largest block of business on earth is international and corporate loans. So if a banking cartel artificially controls those interest rates, would you consider that a, quote, free market, end quote? I certainly wouldn't. Now, certain politicians would prefer to have government officials in control of the Fed, which is an even worse idea. Since bankers have to have skill in order to be bankers, politicians only need to win a popularity contest. The idea that bankers shouldn't be running the Fed is as stupid as the idea that doctors shouldn't be directors of hospitals. Enough said on that. If you want to read about the Federal Reserve, there are links to this website also, which is the us.gov federal agencies listing of the Federal Reserve System. If you want to send them an email or something, feel free. Don't say we told you to do so, as we prefer the Fed to not know we exist. If you'd like to go visit the Fed, just head to Washington, D.C., head to 20th Street Northwest and Constitution Avenue, where you'll see this creepy-ass building. There it is. It's the Federal Reserve. They probably put a tree there. They probably relocated that tree there so that the Google map wouldn't show the building as well. Anyway, we've left links to the Google Maps location of the Federal Reserve also. Don't go visit the Federal Reserve and tell them that our channel told you to tell them that they shouldn't exist or anything like that. Don't harass the Federal Reserve, although it is not a government agency. It has its own police. On a totally unrelated note, public service message, check out Poop Senders. That's poopsenders.com. If you'd like to send some cow dung, elephant crap, gorilla poop, a combo pack, they'll include this postcard which says you've been pooped on. Want to know by whom? And then it says we'll never tell. And then they just advertise their own site, which is super brilliant. So if you'd like to have some poop delivered somewhere, such as to your favorite neighbor or perhaps your boss, they've got I mean, I can't believe they have gorilla. They obviously know some zookeepers. Perhaps you want to order some elephant crap to fertilize your garden. It looks pretty fibrous. You could probably grow some great mushrooms out of that. Please leave a comment if you've ever grown elephant crap mushrooms. Look at some commodities here. Here's a 1-year chart of oil, courtesy cnbc.com/markets. We're also going to look at the precipitous rise in gold, which is at a new high. That's above it. That's at a 6-year high, I believe, folks. You got to go to the all data to see the higher point, which was associated with the last solar, a lagging indicator of the last solar minimum. So there you go. Let's see. The price is all the way up to 1622 at the close and 1824 at the open. Don't go chasing waterfalls, folks. Don't go chasing bull markets. Silver has finally spiked. And to our regular viewers, we were telling you to buy silver Christmas presents back here. So if you own silver, yeah, it's now at $16.46 per ounce. Just keep in mind, the last time silver had a big spike, it was at nearly $50 per ounce. And that was even later than gold, as silver has lagged gold again as a market indicator. Let's also look at currency futures. We see a big increase in US currency because the Fed has come out and said that they're going to lower interest rates, possibly drastically, and that they're going to keep them low for an extended period of time. If you weren't aware, we're happy to tell you about it. Please listen to Peter Schiff, and please read this book. Links to this also. The book is about the most blatant scam in all of history. It's the cause of wars, boom and bust cycles, inflation, depressions, prosperity. Your worldview will definitely change. So read The Creature from Jekyll Island, courtesy G. Edward Griffin, the author. There are links here, although you should probably just buy the book in paper format, and after you read it, give it to a friend who doesn't understand economics. Thanks again for tuning into the Smash stream, folks. It's about time to end this. We're going to show you one more view of this completely featureless sun. No coronal holes to really comment on. Filamentary activity is minor. No sunspots. Low solar wind. Low 10.7 centimeter radial flux. Don't get depressed. Cycle 25 has already begun, in most people's opinion. Kahlo Jan says, it looks like there's a bulge at the top. That's what she said. Like literally, that's what Kahlo Jan said. Again, check out the original music at soundclick.com/Golden Cap Productions. Links in the description of that. Thanks everybody for supporting the channel. Please donate if you're able and get in on the ground level. We'll be doing it all again tomorrow. So remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun anyway, just don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.